going to give it 1 more minute and then we will start. Good afternoon and welcome to ITS Canada's first Supplier webinar series. My name is Janneke and I am the Managing Director of ITS Canada, and I welcome you all. Today, we are being joined by 3 members who will share their new initiatives, products or services to aid the industry in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Each company will be given 10 minutes, followed by a 5-minute Q&A. And if any of the attendees have any questions, please use the questions panel or box to ask your questions. And after each presentation, I will forward those questions or share those questions with the presenter. First is Matthew Trushinski. As the Director of Product Marketing at Miovision, Matthew is responsible for providing strategic direction for Miovision's products and solutions, in addition to presenting the brand worldwide. He's passionate about data, artificial intelligence, and how ITS technology impacts cities and their citizens. And I'm now going to make Matthew presenter.
Thank you, Janneke. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you very much, everyone, for attending today. Just want to say a quick thank you to Janneke and the team at ITS Canada for putting this webinar on. You know, this is a pretty difficult time, I think, for everybody. So, you know, Miovision and myself personally, we just appreciate this opportunity to speak to you all. So thank you, Janneke and ITS Canada, for putting this on. We really appreciate it. What I want to talk about today is how we're helping some of our customers deal with the current COVID-19 pandemic. We've been quite transparent that we've been trying to make our product experts, our engineers available to our customers and to generally to cities. We've really taken the approach of, you know, at this time, we really just want to be there to help cities. Cities are our main customer. Cities are who we serve. And right now, I know the majority of cities are just trying to figure out a way to really get by, to transition to remote work, and to provide data insights to their other internal teams of the city to make sure that they're measuring what's happening. So that's what I'm going to do for you today. I'm just going to take you through some of the ways that we're helping our customers. And then, as Janneke said, I'm happy to answer any questions after about some of the nuances here. So before I get into too much, I just want to introduce you quickly to our hardware platform. So we call this system Traffic Link. We say it's the fastest way to a smart intersection. It really has 3 components that will be critical in the use cases I'm going to talk about today. Number 1 is the Smart Link, which is our connectivity device. This is what integrates into the traffic cabinet and allows the intersection to quickly connect to not just the infrastructure side, but to the traffic controller, to the detector data, and to everything within a traffic cabinet. That is as well a LTE connectivity antenna there that quickly provides internet and connectivity to the intersection. This is a Smart Sense. This is our computational device. It's essentially a computer that goes at the side of the road and does all sorts of real-time processing of data live at the intersection. And I'll show you what that is and how that helps as well. And then finally, we have our Smart View 360 camera that is a single fisheye camera that covers an entire intersection in one view. And then we actually use that camera both for monitoring the intersection, but then also we feed that data into our processing unit so we can get insights out of it. So our traffic link platform is really these three components: connectivity, compute, and then a video camera that goes at the side of the road. And all of our use cases are built off of this kind of technology. We have a lot of solutions that we cover with this hardware, but the ones that we're going to mostly talk about today are signal communications and remote maintenance for traffic teams who are trying to work from home right now, and then some of the operations and analytics in terms of how mobility data is changing. So we'll start with the focus on LTE connectivity and how we're helping our customers learn to work on traffic from home. So essentially, each traffic cabinet that we work on with our customers gets one of these SmartLink devices, and that's what allows you to remotely manage your traffic cabinet and really see what's happening within your traffic network for anywhere in the world. So I'm going to hop out of this presentation, actually just go right into our software so you can get a better view of what it looks like. This is the city of Kitchener, Kitchener-Waterloo. And you can see that everywhere there's a green dot is where one of the region Waterloo is using our systems to remotely manage that traffic. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to go in and we're going to, from here, I'm at my home right now. I can actually go in and start monitoring and managing traffic right from my own home office. And this is really what we're helping the traffic team do, is how can I keep tabs on traffic even while I'm trying to work from home. So in this case, I'm going to look out at this intersection here in Baden. Baden is just a town west of Kitchener-Waterloo. This intersection, I can actually see a lot of what's happening in it. I can see if it has any active alerts happening. I can see what devices are actually inside the cabinet. If I want to, I can actually tap into this live video coming from the traffic cabinet itself to monitor traffic and what's happening in real time. So we'll let this out. So this is actually a live view of traffic in Baden happening at the moment. So again, I don't need to drive out. I don't need to go into public. I can see what's happening with my intersections remotely. Again, this is all 100% live. I can even see what the intersection is doing from a telemetry point of view. So how's the intersection behaving? Are the detectors functioning? Are my preemption systems working? I can do this all from the comfort of my own home. I can even go as far as to actually connect to the controller. So in this case, we've got a Cobalt. I can actually connect to this controller remotely. And now you can actually see I'm actually at the front panel of the controller remotely from my home office as well. So this is really the first way that we're helping our customers, is transition their management of their road infrastructure to being completely digital, completely online, and always remote. So that's the first solution that we're really helping our customers with, is how can we transition to a completely remote management of our traffic signals. Now, once you have connectivity and you've kind of gone out to Baden, you've done all of your remote management, the other thing that we're helping our customers understand is how they can use the data coming from the intersections to measure the impact that they're having in terms of policy. So we have a few technologies that we're using to do this. One is our video detection. So we actually use the computer vision in our camera to draw detection zones for vehicles. This is traditionally known for, or used for actuation, either stop bar or pulse. The second thing we do is based on, this actually is video from Toronto. Because we're using artificial intelligence at the side of the road doing all of our compute, we can actually do extremely granular levels of computation and counting of both people, vehicles, and cars. So this was Toronto, probably, I think this was in the fall, but lots and lots of people. In this case, we're continuously counting them, classifying them, turning movement count data in terms of their direction, and that's being counted and classified 24 hours a day. So between vehicle presence and detection data that we get, as well as the continuous count data that we get, we're starting to use this ongoing data, this extremely granular per person per intersection data, to help our customers understand how their measures in terms of distancing and stay at home, or actually being able to enforce something like a social distancing policy is affecting the city. So this is a Canadian city, population 500,000 plus. You see their normal baseline versus the current traffic mix that they're in right now, based off of that continuous data coming from the intersection. So in this case, you can see that cars and pedestrians and buses are far down, while cyclists are actually increasing. In this case, this is an American city, but cyclists up and a drastic reduction in pedestrians. And all this data is being fed live to both, not just traffic teams, but to city officials and public health, as well to understand if their social distancing measures are working based off of what we're seeing in the traffic data, including pedestrians and cyclists. The other really interesting use case we're working on, I've blurred out the city in this case, but this is a really interesting project that we're working on as part of Miovision Labs. Miovision Labs is our research and development arm, and this is where we're really cutting edge on addressing the COVID-19 pandemic. The current technology that we would use for detection zones, in this case, is being used as a mobile or at a mobile COVID detection, or sorry, a mobile COVID testing site. You can actually say that we're determining queue length as well as counting and doing presence for vehicles going through this testing site. And the city's actually measuring how many vehicles are going through their testing sites per day, and how long and how often they have a queued backup occurring in terms of traffic going through these mobile testing sites. And this data is going right to the mayor's office, so the mayor themselves can see exactly how many vehicles and are being processed, how many are being rejected, which means that they didn't have the doctor's note of it required to go there, and how long it's actually taking them to get through this queue so they can continue to process people in a really fast way. And this is some of the data coming back that our Miovision Labs team has been focused on. We actually know how often is there a queue building up for vehicles waiting at one of these sites? How long are they waiting for? How long is their testing time? And what does that range look like? And then we're actually doing it by lane as well for both exits, entrance, and then grand total for processing. So what we're hearing from our city customers is that, you know, the public health officials are getting swab information back over the course of a couple days, but they lack real-time data on a per day level to be able to know exactly how many people they're processing. And they're using vehicle presence and detection zones in our technology to be able to get this data live at the mayor's office. So it's not exact, it's not you know, the same as knowing how many people got swabbed, but it's a surrogate for real-time processing. So again, the way that we're helping our customers, just to wrap up really quickly, number one is we're helping them manage all their traffic infrastructure from home. So how can I keep my traffic network online and moving and know that everything's operating from the comfort of my own office? And number two is how do we use live presence data in terms of pedestrians, cyclists, and cars? Oh, there's my timer. That was my 10 minutes. In terms of actually measuring and knowing what impact we're making at testing sites. So I know, Yannicke, you wanted to open up for questions. I'm happy to take some questions now.
So thank you very much, Matthew. So if anybody has any questions, please post them in the question panel box. As we prepared for this call with all presenters yesterday, I asked Matthew how COVID-19 has impacted work at Miovision, and I was just wondering if you can maybe elaborate a little bit about that, beside what you are presenting.
Sure.
I know we're all working remotely, but if you would be willing to share some of that with us.
Sure. So yeah, we've fully transitioned to working from home. So we have about 200 employees that have all kind of taken you know, home working now to be the new normal. You know, it's this really interesting balance. I think we've all learned to be quite tolerant and lenient with each other in terms of, I think it's now the normal to be on a meeting or a call and have a kid pop up in the middle of it, looking for attention or wanting to say hi. And I think what we've seen is a quick change within our culture, whereas maybe that would have been a, you know, that would have been a faux pas, or hey, why are you letting a kid interrupt the meeting? Maybe that would have been something that would happen traditionally at a business. Now what we're seeing is, you know, the staff saying, hey, bring the kid over, let's say hi. You know, we're really we're trying to make it part of our culture to be compassionate and empathetic with each other. And then really we're trying to change the culture and the tone of our corporate life here at Miovision to be what we're calling servitude culture, which is right now we know our customers and our cities, they need help. And we're trying to reorient ourselves in terms of marketing and sales and engineering development to say, hey, how can we at this time do more to help our customers? How can we spend more time with them, understanding their problems? And this is where we're getting into really, the interesting work around the detection sites and the COVID sites and the testing sites is really just by talking to our customers and saying, hey, how can Miovision help at the moment? So yeah, we're trying to both be, more tolerant of each other in our lives, and also work with our customers more closely to understand how we can help them solve problems right now.
Thank you very, very much. So I don't see any other questions at this point, so we're going to move on to the next presenter. But if anybody has any questions after the webinar is over, you can send them to me, and then I can forward them to Matthew, Peter, or Kevin, respectively. I think we're also, with permission of all presenters today, would be willing to share the webinar recording with everybody who is in attendance today. So thank you very much, Matthew, for that. And I know that you and your wife are having a little one coming up in the beginning of May. So wish you and your wife all the best with that as well.
Thank you very much, Yannicka. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. So next up is Peter Stokes from StreetLight Data. Peter is the Regional Director at StreetLight Data, has 10 years of strategic business development experience in the software industry. At StreetLight Data, a big data analytics company that specializes in transportation, he works closely with government agencies, cities, and engineering firms who want to use the power of big data to understand how pedestrians, bikes, and vehicles interact. Prior to join StreetLight, Peter worked at SAP and Oracle. Peter holds a BA from the University of British Columbia. And Peter, I am going to make you the presenter.
Great. Thanks, Yannicka. Can you just confirm that you can see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So firstly, thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you for organizing this segment, and thanks to everyone else at ITS Canada for supporting us during this time. So like Yannicka said, I'm the Regional Director for Canada at StreetLight Data. Been with the company a little over a year, based out of my home office here in Vancouver. And yeah, again, pleased to be presenting our response to COVID-19 and how we're supporting the industry during this time. So I know we only have 10 minutes here, so I'll keep the agenda pretty brief. There's probably some folks that are on the call that are familiar with StreetLight or have used this in the past, and some that were entirely new. So I thought I'd just start with a bit of an overview on kind of talking about our data, who we are, what we do, what we've heard from our customers, and then why we're here today, talking about our response to COVID-19, how we're supporting the industry, and the product set that we built called StreetLight Lite, how you would use it, and then some applications related to COVID-19 that we've heard from some of our customers. And then similar to the previous presentation, there'll be some time at the end for Q&A. So StreetLight Data, I think it's important to start with our data first. So we have two main geospatial data sources that we use that are really the backbone of StreetLight and what we do. The first of which is location-based services. We call it LBS, and they're from smartphone applications. And you can see in the video here, there's two colors of pings. Location-based services are the purple pings. And then the yellow pings are GPS. That's our second geospatial data source. Those are for connected cars, trucks, turn-by-turn applications. We generally use those to measure commercial trips. And this is 24 hours in San Bernardino, raw big data. You know, we do a lot of work behind the scenes that I'll get into to make this useful, but as you can see, it kind of fluctuates throughout the day. And you know, it's a lot of different data and different pings that we process. And how we make it useful for customers is every month we add in data and we look at the frequency of the pings to route them to routes and map them to streets. So if a ping stops moving more than 5 meters in 5 minutes, we consider that trip to end. And we also add contextual data sources, things like road network data, parcel land use data, and demographics data from StatsCan. And then we also calibrate with permanent count data. That's how we get our AADT estimates, and also our customers' own data. There's a calibration tool where you can add in your own data to the system. And how all that works together is you have your data sources, like I mentioned, location-based services data from the smartphone applications. You have GPS. You have your road network data, parcel land use data, demographics data that we bring, and then your own calibration data if you'd like. That's fed into a machine learning platform, processed algorithmically, and then stored in the cloud. And customers access it through the cloud via our StreetLight Insight platform, which is what customers subscribe to us for. It's completely cloud-based and on demand. You access it from anywhere. And that's where you derive all the metrics and data and answer the questions that you want answers to from the comfort of your own home. So some of the types of studies that you can do with StreetLight are on the right there. You know, origin destination studies, probably by and large, are the most common that customers will use us for. You know, we have routing projects that people do with us, select link analysis. We have AADT estimates all the way down to hourly traffic estimates. Some of the outputs that you can expect from StreetLight are trip speed, trip lengths, trip durations, travel time, trip circuity, and then demographics information, things like stuff like income, family status, education, race, because we link up to StatsCan, like I mentioned. And then we infer trip purpose as well, home and work. I'll get into some of the things that you can do around that with as it relates to COVID-19 and having everyone work from home. And then what you're left with again is StreetLight Insight. Again, that's our on-demand service that customers subscribe to. This is just a snapshot that you're seeing here of, for instance, that's a gate along a roadway. If you wanted to look at the volume on that particular road, the zones that you would create, which are where you derive the data from, can be, like I mentioned, a zone, a gate along a roadway, or they can be an entire city block or an entire city. We leave that up to you. There's no limits on the types of zones that you can draw or upload. They can also be line segments as well. And so now I'm going to get into some of the things that we've heard and why we've developed a response to COVID-19 to support our customers in the industry. So some of the things that we've heard are, first off, it's not safe or possible to get personnel in the field to collect data. The second is obviously it's kind of an unusual time. You know, traffic is not typical to current conditions, but customers are still expected to continue working. And really what we're trying to do is make sure that your work and your projects don't grind to a halt during this time. So we're trying to enable our customers to continue doing all the great work that they're doing from the comfort of their own home versus going out into the field. And with that, we've introduced StreetLight Lite. So it's a new product set that we've introduced. It's essentially a trimmed down version of our starting solution called Essentials, which I'll get into. And we've launched it right now. It is live. Customers can purchase it, and we have it pegged until June the 30th. That could be extended. Really, we're kind of taking things as they go right now and just gauging the response and appetite from customers. And so, as you can see here, what I've done is I've just laid out some of the features that you can expect from StreetLight Lite versus our other core product offerings. So as you can see, you're going to be getting all of your AADT on all roadways. You're going to be getting your volume estimates. You'll be able to do origin destination studies, your zone activity analysis. And some of the details around the StreetLight Lite offering are, like I mentioned, what you will include, which is what I would consider, kind of the core StreetLight offering. You're going to get our AADT estimates, our volume estimates, your OD studies, your zone activity analysis for vehicles. With StreetLight, you do have access to multimodal data. It is not included in StreetLight Lite. But if you have a study around that, we'd be happy to talk to you and understand it better to see if we'd be a good fit. And really, like I mentioned before, StreetLight Lite, it's really meant to augment and allow you to continue to doing turning movement and intersection studies. So we're trying to make it easy for customers to start using us. With that, we've developed a unique pricing structure. It's a heavily discounted version of StreetLight. So, you can expect between 20 to 70% off the Essentials package for StreetLight Lite. There's some restrictions around the zone sizes, as you can see there. We have a restriction around the number of zones that you can use per analysis. And one of the great things about StreetLight Lite is you can apply it to multiple studies and multiple geographies. Traditionally, we work on a project-by-project basis. So we have you purchase a set of zones and a product set for that particular study. For StreetLight Lite, you can apply it to a variety of studies. You're kind of buying in bulk is the idea. And now we understand that customers use us and understand us for their work that they do based on intersections. So we've kind of laid it out as the number of zones that you would purchase and the corresponding intersections, assuming that there's 4 zones per intersection. You can see the diagram on the right there for an example on how to set that up. And I haven't talked about the price of these packages just because I think there's an element of understanding how we are used before we talk about the price entirely. So please reach out to me. My contact information is there on the bottom right. And now how it would work when you're setting up StreetLight is first you start with your zones. Like I showed you in that video, you can draw or upload the polygons, or they can be line segments. Then you select the study type. And now you can go, when you're setting your day type up, you can go all the way back again, like I mentioned, to 2016 for location-based services data. So you can go back in time and look at conditions well before COVID-19 and the lockdown and everything like that to get an idea of historical trends and present state. And then you visualize all your analysis. So you can actually interact with the visual and export all the results via CSV. And one thing I should mention on the time period is we go all the way down to a 1-hour interval. So you can get pretty granular with the time period and day types that you're looking to analyze. And I'll just briefly touch on this. These are just some types of applications that we've heard from customers and how they want to use us. I think one of the ones I would call attention to is around VMT calculation as it relates to emissions and gas consumption over this time. We actually just released VMT data for the US. In the future, we may be doing something similar for Canada. That hasn't been announced yet, but these are just a couple hypothetical applications and applications that customers are using us for right now at this time. I think I'm coming pretty close on the time here. So to finish off,
yep.
We'll probably have some questions around validation. So I just wanted to link where you can find all of the information on our turning movement counts, our AADT and volume estimates, our bike ped data, and all of our methodologies right here.
Thank you very much, Peter, for that presentation. Again, if anybody has any questions, Peter's details can be found on the screen. And Peter, I also will ask you what I asked Matthew is, how has COVID-19 impacted your daily work at StreetLight Data, for example? And I think Matthew shared some positives as well. I think we're trying to also look for positives. So what has been one of the positive outcomes for you?
Certainly. I think one of the main ones here internally anyways is obviously, people are working from home. We are largely a virtual workforce. There is about 200 employees. We do have an office in Vancouver, but people are going to be at home right now. And I think in terms of it relates to our customers and how we're working with them is we've had a lot of demand now for COVID-19 related studies. There's a lot of interest, and StreetLight's a really good application for that because, again, everything's done virtually on your computer as it is. There's really no in-field work required to use StreetLight, and it's very easy to use. So customers are able to ramp up really quickly, and they're kind of having to do these studies quite quickly as well. So we've actually been fielding a lot of inquiries in Canada, and a lot of new projects are coming up. So in large part, it's been quite positive, I guess, for the company.
Thank you. And I also wanted to thank the three presenters today because they reached out to me via separate emails a while back, whether or not we were going to do anything for our members. So thank you. In particular, Peter, you were the first one sending out that email, what ITS Canada was going to do for its members. And the result of this is actually this webinar series. So thank you very much. You can see my screen, and today's last presenter is Kevin Stewart from Applied Electronics. Kevin Stewart is a communication and collaboration technology and solutions specialist. That's a long title, with over 25 years of experience in the audiovisual industry. Kevin's expertise lies in creating and delivering innovative technology solutions to improve workflows, communication, and collaboration for those with media integration requirements. His areas of specialization serving the transportation sector include surveillance and network monitoring solutions, training and simulation systems, video conferencing systems, video capture and content management solutions, video streaming solutions, media storage and distribution, IP-based multi-viewer solutions, and so much more. Kevin, I am going to make you the presenter.
I think I'm good to go here. I don't know if everybody can hear me. I seem to have lost
Yes.
audio coming in. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, and can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. There we go. So I have two monitors here. I'm not sure which one I've actually shared. Are you seeing the speaker's notes or are you seeing the full presentation?
I see the slide that says your title slide, and then a little map on the right-hand side that says national reach.
Okay, so you're seeing, that's fine. You're just seeing the speaker's notes rather than the presentation. So we'll just go with that. So thank you very much for the introduction. I didn't realize that I did so much, and apparently I need to ask for a raise. But having somebody put that together was really kind of eye-opening, I guess, for me and maybe for others as well. So Applied Electronics, first of all, who is Applied Electronics and what do we do? So there we go. So Applied Electronics, a national audiovisual company, as the bio kind of indicated. So we deal in all aspects of the audiovisual industry, from the boardroom, meeting room, huddle spaces, up through the operation control centers, and specializing in command and control facilities. We, I would say, quite easily would be the largest audiovisual supplier in the operation control center in Canada, and to so somewhere over the course of history, we have supplied and installed north of 300 process control centers. So we're very well experienced in this vertical market. So we have 6 offices, Mississauga or Toronto being head office, Montreal, Ottawa, Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver are our other regional locations. As I said, we work in all aspects of the audiovisual industry, from corporate Fortune 500 companies, media and entertainment, command and control, government, education, healthcare, and worship. So a little bit of everything in there. Some of the eye candy on the right-hand side of the screen here. The most notable probably would be this one, of course, is the Canadian House of Commons, which is the new, or the relocation rather, from Center Block to West Block that went live in January of 2019, I believe it was. So that's our biggest project to date, and looking forward to many more like that. So products and services that we can assist with on the COVID-19 response. I'm going to talk a little bit about products that currently exist, that are mature products, and then some exposure into a new product that has recently been released. All these products are from Barco. For those of you who are familiar with Barco, or rather who are not familiar with Barco, Barco is a manufacturer and software development company for both hardware and software that works mainly in the entertainment industry, but also in all other aspects of media and communications as well. So if you've been to a movie and you've seen the logo come up on the screen when the movie starts, the Barco projectors are in a lot of the movie theaters throughout North America and really the world, I guess. So Barco Display Management System, or DMS, is what we want to talk about. And Barco DMS is a group of mature, complementary, decentralized products developed specifically for management of command and control room, video wall, desktop, and collaborative workflows. So that utilizes a combination of hardware and software. What we do, or what the Barco product does, is encodes pixels from the source, whether the source be your video management system, like a Milestone or a FLIR or an Access camera system, or other subsystems, like some of the ones we've had presentations on already today. We encode those pixels, and we use a TCP/IP network as a transport medium. So because we're only encoding pixels, we're not encoding data. It's only the pixels that are transmitted over a network, and therefore, are secure forms of transportation. Whether we use a hardware or a software decoder will depend on the source that's being encoded. A hardware encoder would be used on full dynamic type of content, like a camera, for example, where a software encoder or screen scraping would be used on a less dynamic type of source, such as maybe an Excel spreadsheet, something that doesn't change very quickly. Decoders are used at the displays or the video wall to decode pixels and convert them back to an HDMI signal that, of course, means something to a display and that we get to see. There's then a throughput server that manages all the multicast streams and prevents them from going into a broadcast type of scenario. Again, it is a multicast being managed through the throughput server, and it streams content as it's requested. Okay. So the current Barco control room products are CMS, which is the software, Transform N, which is hardware. That hardware includes encoders, decoders, media gateways, as well as displays and video wall products such as rear projection cubes, and now DirectView LED products as well. OpSpace is the newest of the 3 products that fall under the control room umbrella, and OpSpace is again a group of hardware and software designed for the desktop. So the operator working at the desktop with multiple subsystems, multiple keyboards and mouse. It consolidates all those multiple keyboards and mouse to a single keyboard and mouse, and consolidates the number of monitors down to something much more manageable. So a pretty interesting piece of technology, and had a lot of success with that. So the newest product that I wanted to talk about today is the Secure Stream. So Secure Stream is content sharing for critical infrastructure and critical operations. Everything that we've looked at so far with the Transform N and the CMS requires a secure network. Just to look at this graphic here, the top left is representative of the operator workspace at the desktop level. The bottom left is the control room and the video wall. The bottom right would be a crisis room, and then content from any of those three locations can be shared amongst stakeholders, from a desktop to a video wall to a crisis room or a management office. What hasn't been available without significant network intervention up until now is the remote or the mobile site, and that's what Secure Stream was developed for and is being introduced. I guess it was introduced last week. So really a brand new product. Okay. So this is a kind of a simplified network diagram of how things operate today. Barco is not doing this without the help of companies like Microsoft with their Azure Cloud, and another Canadian company, which is Vonage, to provide the remote and on-demand access from for the third party. So this would represent, this side of the screen would represent your control room with your streaming gateways uploaded over the public internet to an Azure cloud, and then down to your remote clients through the cloud. So no secure network required on this side. This side still operates as a secure network. This configuration requires a secured lease network between sites, and this is how it was done up until now. So rather than having everything uploaded or managed through the cloud, there was in past a physical connection between the control room or the OCC and a remote client, so people in their homes, for example. So this requires, again, some fairly significant network intervention with virtual private networks and lease networks secure between sites, which again, coming back to the previous slide, the cloud now takes care of that. For more secure applications where you require total network separation, we use an intermediary decoder, which brings the encoded stream into this device, which is the network isolator or the decoder. It then takes the physical HDMI or DVI output to a streaming gateway outside of the network, and then which streams to the offsite service portal and to the remote clients, of course. From the operator's point of view, this is kind of how, in a really simplified fashion, how they would provide sources that the remote clients would see. Think of this as their desktop monitor. They have something called a sidebar, which is a overview of all the different sources available. They can then pick and choose which sources they want to share, creating what we call a perspective by clicking and dragging those sources from the sidebar into the perspective. Once they have the perspective assembled, they would then share that with either the remote clients or in a secure network environment within the OCC with a management office, with a crisis room, or with other stakeholders within the secure network side of things. So very, very simplified. The roadmap for Secure Stream, as I said, this product was only released last week, so it's really it is version 1. I think I heard the other day that 1.2 has already been released, so they're quickly developing this product and refining it. But so for the roadmap, we're going to, probably the first thing we're going to see developed is the video stream for remote clients. So, you know, a technician out on a site someplace can now or will be able to use their phone to take video of the site and upload it to the cloud, and then bring it back into the OCC or the operation control room. Okay, so that's probably first on the roadmap. Second would be the DVR, so a digital video recorder, and this would allow people, remote clients, as well as operators in the operation control center to view live, rewind, fast forward, and that type of thing. Okay, some real use cases there for sure. Online, available now are FAQs and white papers if anybody is interested. We're also setting up demos online, of course, and I would love to hear from some of you. So I'll open it up to questions if I have nothing else to add there. So hopefully we'll have some questions come in.
Good. Thank you very much, Kevin. I was just wondering how COVID-19 has impacted your daily work, or maybe even the work at Applied Electronics. I guess part of your work is considered essential service.
Yeah, we have received essential service classification in Ontario and Quebec, where that is required. So although our administration and sales staff work from home, of course, our warehouse is open and is able to ship and receive, and our technicians are also available for emergency callouts. You know, if you have a problem with your projector in your boardroom, probably not an emergency callout. But if you know, you have a display management system down or something, we're certainly able to tackle that. As far as how it's affected us, I guess we're doing a lot more business with municipal governments and I guess really all levels of government in providing streaming solutions for remote meetings in the form of video streaming through YouTube, Facebook Live, Vimeo, things like that. As well as communications through Zoom, Teams, GoToMeeting, things, and all those other types of applications.
Thank you. There are no other questions that are being asked. So I want to thank everybody who attended today's webinar. Thank you very much, Peter, Matthew, and Kevin. The recording will be made available after I receive permission from our presenters. And I look forward to virtually seeing everybody at our upcoming webinar next week, Tuesday, same time, with 3 different ITS Canada members presenting their products and services, or sharing their products and services with us. So for now, I wish everybody stay safe, stay connected, but 2 meters or 6 feet apart, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thanks for arranging this, Janica.
You're welcome.